And that's it, we're recording, Lena.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lena Kuzi and I'm the Head of Library Access Services at NCBI. You're very welcome today to the webinar that myself and Steve Bennett from Dolphin Computer Access are going to be presenting to you. I'm going to talk to you first of all a little bit about housekeeping around if you wanted to ask any questions while we're doing our webinars, please use the chat button at the bottom of your screen. It's in the middle section of your screen and at the very base of that. Please put your questions there and we will respond to them at the end. Alternatively, you can use the Alt-H button as well to ask any questions that you may have during the presentation. First of all, you're very welcome, and I'm going to talk to you now about making the most of Bookshare Ireland with the Easyreader app. I know that many of you are members of Bookshare Ireland, and some of you might be just have some questions or struggling a little bit with the Easyreader app going forward, and we want to just sort of clarify how the system works. Steve is going to give a demonstration on that, working with the Easyreader app to make the most of Bookshare Ireland using that particular application. So the first slide that we have on the screen, and Steve is going to very kindly move that over for me now. Bookshare Ireland is the largest accessible digital library in Ireland. We have now over 700,000 titles in the collection. And that collection grows on a monthly basis. We have over 800 national and international publishers that send their titles. We call it ingesting the titles onto the platform. So we take the titles and we place them onto the Bookshare Ireland platform through an ingestion process. The titles, there's different formats for these titles, but I'll talk to you about that in the next slide. We have over 540 registered student members to date, and the age range is anything from 6 years of age all the way through to mature students in college. We also have individuals that are leisure readers that use the platform, but the majority of the service users that are registered with Bookshare Ireland are students in primary, secondary, further or higher education. So where did Bookshare Ireland come from? Why Bookshare Ireland? Bookshare Ireland developed from a need for an efficient modern service whereby blind or vision impaired students could access their books for study. Many students in primary and secondary schools were getting their books in accessible formats throughout the school year. But then once they moved on to higher education or further education, that support wasn't available for them. So we looked at best practice in other countries, what was happening in other countries in Europe and in the United States, and we came across Bookshare, and that seemed to be the perfect solution for our students in Ireland. So we launched, we started actually work in 2018 with the Dyslexia Association. We got them on board with us. So our service is available to students who are blind or vision impaired and students who have a reading difficulty such as dyslexia. And as well, our service, our Bookshare Ireland platform is open to anyone with a physical disability that has a problem with opening or reading a print book. So we commenced our service in November 2019, just before the COVID outbreak, and we started sending out and working with students and providing the service, the digital library for them. Don't mind moving on to the next slide. Bookshare empowers learning. So students with reading difficulties, vision impairment or physical disabilities can read and access their digital titles 24/7. That is really the power of what Bookshare can do. It's a library that never sleeps. It's available 24/7 for the student or the reader, weekends, evening times. They don't need to call up or wait for a book to arrive. via the post, the free post service, they have access to their book within minutes or seconds. So a qualifying student, what can the service do? They can listen to their books through text to speech. They can follow along with audio and highlighted text. They can read in large type, or they can read in digital braille. And the last element there, or the last point there for the qualifying student, is the digital braille side of things, which is really exciting, a very exciting feature. It's called BRF, which is a braille ready file. The next slide, please. The Bookshare promotes independence. Bookshare offers students a choice of different formats. As I mentioned before, when we ingest a title, we take the title usually in EPUB format from the publisher, and then we provide it on the platform in 5 or 6 different formats. These formats are PDF, BRF, which is Braille Ready File, EPUB, Word, DAISY, or DAISY with images. So the student, when they search for a title, they can download, if they're using a PC, they can download the book in PDF, BRF, EPUB, Word, DAISY, or DAISY with images. So we're offering the student a choice of devices. You can access your books through a desktop or a laptop, or you can use the Easyreader app with a tablet or a smartphone. If you're downloading a book through your desktop or laptop, you might have some assistive technology attached to your PC, which will allow you to access the book. So you download the book in Word, and maybe you're a JAWS user and you can access your Word book using JAWS. If you're using a tablet or a smartphone, we would recommend the Easyreader app, and you can download that. It's a free app, and Steve is going to talk to you about how that works with Bookshare. The free Easyreader app is available with Android devices and with iOS Apple devices as well. So who is using Bookshare? There are at the moment 600 seats that we have available on the Bookshare platform. So if you remember my first slide, there was 540 students using the system. So we're very close to full capacity. We will be looking at getting more seats as the year goes on. The students that are using our Bookshare platform, they're studying history, journalism, art, science, law, social science, business, literature, various different subjects. And I would recommend that all vision impaired students join Bookshare. This is a comment that was given by Aoife Tierney. She's a second year student at Dundalk Institute of Technology. She states that she started her journey in higher education in October 2019, and a month later Bookshare Ireland was launched, and she hasn't looked back. She now has access to all her books that she needs, and she can listen to her course books in audio on her way to college. It's just a little snippet of a student's life on how they're accessing Bookshare and the benefits of Bookshare to them. So for those of you that are not members of Bookshare and you would like to join Bookshare Ireland, how do you sign up? So it's a self-referral form, actually. It's fairly straightforward. You go to Bookshare Ireland, to the Bookshare Ireland site. You click on sign up, and that's at the very base of the page, the first page that you go to. So there's a sign up button at the very base of the page. You click on that, and an application form pops up. The application form looks for your name, your address, and an email and a password. So you have to fill all of that in and submit that application form. That arrives in the library online, and we activate your account from there. The account is verified by NCBI Library, and then you can start to explore and download your books using the various devices that I talked about. I'm going to hand you over shortly now to Steve, who's going to talk to you about the Easyreader app and how you can use that with Bookshare. And I've just given you a little summary of what Bookshare Ireland is and what it's all about. Many thanks.
Thank you so much. Okay, so like Lena mentioned, this is it's a free app. So I'm often asked, why is it free? It is a really good way of Dolphin being able to brand themselves, and it's just darn sight cheaper than the marketing spend on there. And it was also really a nice way to give something back. So Dolphin Easyreader is available on Apple and Android. So yes, it's available on the clever iPods, it's available on iPhone, it's available on Apple tablets, iPads, it's available on Android phones, it's available on Android tablets, and if you have Amazon, there's an Amazon Fire version, although it's a separate shop, so you'd have to go there. So it will work on all of those, and yes, it will work on a Chromebook if you have those as well. It's free now, it will always be free. Okay, there may be a paid added on service later this year or maybe next year, but this will always be free. We're not going to start charging you in 6 months, in 12 months, ever. Okay, the app will be is and will remain at no cost to students and anybody in education. So how do I get it? Let's pop along to the App Store, which I've got here. I've got an iPad running and I'm in the App Store and I've typed in Dolphin Easyreader and up it pops. And then I download the app from there onto my particular device. So let me just go back to it when I've already downloaded it. So what do I have to do? So the first thing we ask you to do is to make a Dolphin account. So it's the app you're opening, not the library at this point. So the Dolphin account, you'll put your email address in and you'll put a password. And then what we'll do is we'll send you an email to that email address that you've given us, and you have to click on a link in that email to actually activate it. No cost, all right? And are we going to inundate you with emails? No, absolutely not. Right, that's not the point, and I'll explain the point of why we have this separate Dolphin account to the Bookshare Ireland account shortly. So now I can open the app, all right, and we'll see that we've got lots of different libraries available inside there, of which some of them are like NCB Overdrive or Bookshare Ireland, they're available as well. So on the left-hand side, I've got this thing we call the side menu, which actually comes in. So what I'll do is I haven't got the voiceover running, or it does work perfectly with voiceover or TalkBack for Android. But because we haven't got a lot of time, I'm actually going to describe the position of all the buttons as I actually go along. So I touch the top left-hand corner and it brings up this side menu. And then I've got this little options here. The last book that I opened, my books list, ignore that Easyreader share, I have run a beta here. And then I've got this manage libraries option. So what I'm going to do is just touch on that. And it opens up. Now there are nearly 40 different libraries from around the world available here. So if you're seeing something like, because it's the UK English version, you might see RNIB Bookshare is available on yours. There's a little button on the right-hand side opposite the list. And whether that button is showing as green or grey, on or off, basically, is whether it will appear in your side menu. So I would recommend that you actually change it in your side menu to the ones which actually suit the ones you've got the login for as well. So let me just bring on one that I know we can't use at the moment. I'll explain why in a second. So looking here, I've got managed libraries. Underneath that, I've got a Belgian library called Anders Lezen. Project Gutenberg is free stuff, out of copyright, NCBI Overdrive, and Bookshare Ireland. And I'll come to these other things a little bit later. So if I was to just touch on Anders Lezen, what it does is it pops up there. I've got to have a username and a password. And that's exactly what would happen when I first came to Bookshare Ireland. I would have to buy a username and password. Now that is different to the Dolphin login, and that is what Lena mentioned in her slides earlier. That's what you obtain from them. And of course, that's for anybody that meets the criteria in Ireland of that copyright exemption for your print impairment. Lena's organisation actually decides if that is the case. So we can't help with that, I'm afraid, only the Dolphin login. So I'll just go back, and what I'm going to do this time is touch the Bookshare Ireland one, and I have already logged into here, and I only have to do this once. And it's the same with the Dolphin login. On this device, I only had to put it in once, and that's it. We're in for perpetuity. Now what it's done now is it's opened up a list, 3 items, and we're actually in a web page, but we don't leave the app. So I've got my reading list, latest, and categories available here, and at the top I've got this search option. So if I were to touch on categories, I've got this beautifully catalogued list of the books. So if I'm going to randomly touch the poetry one, then what will happen is it will actually compile a list of the books which are available in that particular criteria. And I can scan through them if I wish, all right, and they're available. And if I touch on them, it brings up that little box which popped up there as available. So, but that's not what perhaps I want. So in the top left-hand corner, I'm going to click back, and it takes me to this original one. And then if I just scale down, and I'll see that there's a back button right at the top. Okay, and then I go back to the original one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to search the catalogue for a particular book. So one of the downsides of having 700,000 books, it can be quite a while to find what you're actually looking for. So this will actually search the entire catalogue. You can search in the criterias in those different catalogued items, but we're going to search the entire catalogue here. So I'm just going to type in a book that I think is used quite a bit, is 13 Minutes. Now we can, if we wish, we don't have to type the whole of the title in, and we could type in the name of the author or the ISBN, and we can search on those as well. So I'm just going to go for search, and it's brought up that book. Here we are, right at the top, Sarah Pinborough, and it's 13 minutes, and it's available here. Now you may well get other versions of the book so that are available there. Look, we've got one that's got chapter 13, let's pick that one up. There may well be more than one version of the book. So 13 minutes might be available as some learning materials, and somebody's talked about that. There might well be a script for a play or something as well. In this particular case, it's just got one. So I'm going to touch it, or on the right-hand side, there's an I can touch that as well, right? And it brings up the book information. So the book information is available here, and I've got a brief synopsis, and then I've got the ISBN information, etc. here. I think this is the book that I'm interested in. So I see right at the top, I've got this download button, and I'm just going to touch that. And because they're text, they're a format called EPUB, right, which is the text format, then they come in real quick. So now I'm just going to touch the download button. It's turned into an open. So I'm actually going to touch that, and it's opened that particular book. And I did test this earlier. So what it's done is it's opened it up at the last place that I was actually listening. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to go right to the top of the book. So if you just bear with me a second. There we go. Right, now right at the beginning of the book. So here we are. We've got the whole of the text, and it's a vertical reading experience. So you scroll down the book and you read it this way. Now, I bet you're thinking, well, that's great, Steve, but this is a white background and it's dark text and it's quite small and I don't like that font. All right, absolutely. So what we'll do is you can even move your fingers apart and you'll see that it word wraps the text as I make it larger and larger. So you can get it to a point where it suits your print impairment. All right, and then you may say, well, still the color's not quite right. Top right-hand corner, there's an A, and if you touch on that one, you'll see text settings will appear. And as I read from the top, you'll see text size, margins, line spacing, and letter spacing. So some of those suit, I believe, some of the dyslexia options. And then we've got book font. So you can change the book font. It's got the default one at the moment. I'm going to change it to Common O, which is available there. And I'll just come back. And I'm actually going to have a look at the color theme that I've got there. I've got one, so let's have a look. What can I have? Whoops, come on. I'm going to put light blue at the background. Okay, and then I can see it's all happening around that little pop-up box. So I get a little preview of what's going on there. So now I come back and I can change the text color, the background color, the sentence highlight color, and the word color. I absolutely love what Bookshare Ireland have done here. What they've done by creating this content all and using the EPUB standard, everybody can change it in their tablet, their phone, to actually suit their print impairment. Right, so now I've made these settings, and I'm just going to click on close. Every book will open with these particular settings. I don't have to change them again. And if I want to make it a little bit bigger, yeah, carry on, or smaller, then that's fine. And then the next book will open up in this font with those background colors and those highlight colors. All right, it's really, really accessible the way that Bookshare Ireland have made this available. So I'm just going to touch on the word this, accessible media at the top, and in the bottom center is the play triangle.
This accessible media has been made available to people with bona fide disabilities that affect reading.
I'll just click on pause. Okay, so the speed and the voice are those that are available in the audio settings. So adjacent to the text settings in the top right-hand corner, there's a speaker with some sound waves coming out of it, and here is the audio settings. So the first thing that people will want to see is the rate, and you can change the speed. So I'm just going to change the speed up a little bit. I've changed it from 50 to 55. And because this is an iPad, you get lots of different voices and different voices in different languages available here. So I've chosen to use the Moira Irish voice, all right, for this particular one, but I can change it to any others. If you've got an Android device, it's a little bit more complex. You'll have a default voice, and you may have to download a different voice if you wish as well. So just click on back. So underneath that, we've got the voice settings. Again, in here, you can change the pitch, the volume, and the pause. And the pause is the pause at the end of the sentence. And if you're comfortable with what you have, then you can just use the...
Press the play button to test your voice settings.
Okay, then you can just check what you've got there. And you can hear that speed has got a little bit faster. So I'm just going to pop on back. Now, underneath that, you can add a voice. Now, you don't need to do that on an Apple device because they're all available for you. And so but we did get a little bit concerned when we started making the app that people wouldn't find the voice that they wanted. So I think 120,000 people have now downloaded Easyreader, and I think about 3 people have bought additional voices. So it's not why we did it, it was just a service. I would recommend you use what comes with the device, quite frankly. Underneath that, we've got pronunciation. Now, this is quite important. All right, so I've made a pronunciation editor, and I do that by clicking on the plus button. And I've already made one, so I can see it there. And what I'm going to do is just edit it, and it will show me the words which I've actually edited. So, for instance, NCBI, which is an acronym, the TTS, the voice will announce it as
B.
I'm not sure what that is, but what I've done is, the original word is NCBI, and underneath I put N space, C space, B space, I space, and that's what it should sound like. And now if I press play,
NCBI,
it'll announce it correctly. All right, so that's not just for that acronym, it's any acronym. You can space it out and you can do it that way. So another nice option, similar vein, if we look at the Irish word, female names, Niamh.
Niamh.
Yeah, that's not right. So in this particular case, well, I've misspelt it, but I spelt it phonetically. So I put Knweve.
Niamh.
Close, as close as that we want, I think. The main thing is that people's names and town names are often are mispronounced by the TTS, and people find them distracting. So there is one that Mary used to tease me about, which is how I pronounced it, and then of course it is
Codlish.
Okay, and I've completely misspelled that to actually bring it through. All right, so you can change those in there. So if you find it distracting and it detracts from the content that you're reading, then of course you can change it in there. You can have as many as you wish. You can get it to say something completely different if you wish, or you can misspell the word there as well. So every time it comes across the word Portlaoise, it will pronounce it correctly and not the way that the TTS thinks it should be. So I'll just click on close, just come back to my audio settings, and underneath that we've got play on navigation and play sound on bookmark. Now, as you navigate and touch, if you wanted to start reading straight away, then turn that option on there, and the play sound on bookmark will become obvious in a second. Underneath both the text settings and the audio settings, we've got these reset to default buttons. So if you pick the device up that somebody else has had before, and it's too difficult to change to your settings, go on to the reset and then start from scratch. I think that sometimes people find that easier. Okay, now, so we've got this great content available. Maybe it's material that you're not supposed to read from the top to the bottom. It's reference material, which in education, you're supposed to go and find out some particular facts. So what you don't want to do is have to read from the top to bottom to find what you're interested in. So top left-hand corner, adjacent to the sidebar menu, we've got the universal microscope or magnifying glass in them. And what we're going to do is we're going to search for a particular word. So randomly, I'm going to search for the word eager, and here's all the incidences of where that word appears actually in this book. So I'm just going to touch on one. Right. Sometimes it gets it just below or just after, and then it will take you through to that particular location. Now, if that isn't what we wanted, okay, what I can do is come back. When I press it, it hasn't got rid of that word. I can go and press it again, and it will take me to that location. All right, and again, there we are. Now, you don't have to do that every time you want this. What you can do next to the magnifying glass is a Bookshare bookmark. Touch that. Okay, and it puts a little bookmark in there. If I touch it again before it moves, then I can make a text note available in here if I wish. Okay. So I'm going to just pop in the word test for today, and underneath that, we can make an audio note if we wish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll press play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that could be, it's important I remember this book because this is relevant to my essay that I have to write. And I'm just going to click on save. Right, I'll just come to the paragraph beforehand. Oops. Okay, and I'll press play.
I do. I met.
And that was that play note on bookmark. So as I go over it, it gives me a ping to tell me that it's a bookmark. Now, I want to be able to read them. So bottom left-hand corner is like a stack of books, which in fact is the book navigation option. And in here, you'll find 3 tabs. One is headings, one is page numbers, and one is bookmarks. So the first one is headings. If I'm being asked to go to chapter 8, I don't have to try and navigate or search. I can just go into here and it will take me straight through to that location. Again, the beauty of the way that Bookshare Ireland have actually put the text here, it's superbly structured with wonderful headings available in there as well. So if I go back to there, I can pick on any of those available there. You might have, in this particular one, chapter 11 has also got some text next to it. Touch page numbers. This particular book has got page numbers. Some do, some don't. So if I have to go to page 40, it quickly takes me through to that location. And I mentioned that there was bookmarks as well. So I made a bookmark before I deleted it last time. So here's the one that I made, test book, what I made earlier. And this is test. So if I pop to there, it takes me straight back to that location. I could also see the text, and I could have played the audio of that location as well. So I can pick out those elements in the book really, really quickly. Superb to be able to get there. So on the bottom right-hand corner, we have this navigation settings, and next to the adjacent to the play button on the left and the right, you have go backwards and forwards by 15 seconds. And you can change that to 2 minutes, 5 minutes, the book default, the page or heading ones only, whatever you want to do. It's entirely up to you how you want to be able to navigate or go through that option. Above the play button is a history bar. So if you want to go back to where you just came from, all right, then it will take you back to that location. And we can see it's jumping me back in time how I've actually used this particular book. Now, when I open this book in 5 years' time, and not having opened this book again, it will start at exactly this location. Even if I delete it in the meantime, and then I actually download it again afterwards, and it will remember the bookmarks as well. So it saves those to the device, all right? And that's the beauty of the way that the EPUB standard works as well. So back to the side menu, if I just touch on that, let's look at a couple of other options available here. So the first, underneath the book itself is My Books. So all the books that I've ever downloaded are available here. Okay, the one at the top is the 13 minutes book, which we can then tap on here and it'll open again. Underneath we have The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Okay, just going to get rid of that. And then underneath that, there's an audio book. So next to it, we can see this is EPUB, and then audio. So you get a slightly different symbol, and those will be announced differently by VoiceOver or by TalkBack when you're actually using it as well. And if you wish to delete a book, drag from the right-hand side, and then you'll see the option there of delete, and when you can touch that, or touch the I if you're using VoiceOver, okay, and it will actually do it that time. All the best demonstrations have some error, okay, and you'll see that it pops up the book information again, and in the top right-hand corner, there's the trash can or rubbish bin, whatever you prefer. If I touch on that, are you sure you want to remove it? Yes. Okay, it's gone. So textbooks, you could have thousands of them on the device, and audiobooks, they're much bigger file size, so they'll take up more of the memory of the tablet or the iPhone as well. So quickly to the left-hand side again, my newspapers isn't relevant, but underneath that, we've got something that's really useful, which is my clipboard text. Now you can copy from anywhere on this particular device, and what it will do, it'll appear here. So hopefully the text, so I did clip some text earlier. So you know that thing in, I went in Safari and I copied a news article, right? So just did the copy from here and then picked it up, copy. And what it'll do, when you click on the plus button in the top right-hand corner, it will bring the text in there. So it doesn't have to be in a particular standard. Anywhere on the device, text you can bring in here. And the text opens, yeah, it opens up in the same colors, the same size, the same font as I prefer my books as well. So that's been brought in there, and now I can read it.
When the children returned to school last September, I left a dream. For the short while I was allowed.
And again, we've got the same voice, and it's running at that same speed available there as well. So lastly, if I touch on the sidebar menu again, underneath that, we've got About and Help. Okay. So if I wish to go to Dolphin Easyreader here, we'll underneath that is Help for Easyreader, and that's going to take me off to a web page, and all of the different elements that I've demonstrated today, talked through, are all available there. You can read yourself if you prefer as well. I did mention that why do we have a Dolphin account? I said I'd come back to it. All right, so the Dolphin account is actually synchronizing the book position. Now, if you have more than one device, let's give an example. I've got an iPad at school. I've got an iPhone on my way home, but my parents have got an Android tablet. Can I download it more than once? Gosh, yes. Download it as many times as you want. I think we've got 120,000 downloads, but we've got 80,000 users just over. So in doing that, clearly people are using more than one device, and we're more than happy for them to do that. All right, now you'll have to log in with the same Dolphin account. So you can use that. And then of course you'll need your Bookshare Ireland account to log in. And when you download the content, what you'll find is the books will open at exactly the same location. So if you want that reading, that synchronized reading experience of going from school to home or vice versa, then you'll find that the book will be there. It's not going to remember your bookmarks, but it will remember the last reading position that you actually mentioned it as well. Okay, all right, just lastly, it is free. I promise it's going to be free. There is no cost to it. We're more than happy that Bookshare Ireland have used this particular app. And is there a Windows version? Yes, there is. It's paid at the moment. I think it's 39 euros. If I was you, I would wait to September, because we'll be making it available at no cost, along with the Android and the Apple version as well. So that will be absolutely free. And yes, you'll be able to synchronize your listening position between all three of those platform devices. Okay, well, that's enough of me talking. Does there any questions, Lena?
Hello, yes, there are some questions. Steve, thank you very much for that very interesting presentation. Very good, thank you very much. The first question is from Janice Jeffs. She says, hi, this sounds fantastic. Do I fill my details on the form, or do I fill in the name of my daughter who has CBI? She's nearly 8 years old. Thank you. Janice, you actually fill in your daughter's name on the form, and you place your name as the guardian on the form. There's a place for anyone under the age of 18 that needs to have a guardian's name on the application form. It could be a parent, or it could be a teacher that steps in as a guardian. So whoever is applying for the child needs to step in and put in their name as the guardian. Again, Janice sends us another question. She says, can this also be used with her Reveal 16i magnifier in school? I assume I would then have to open her own email account so that she could use on both her tablet at home and her magnifier in school. Please advise. Can you advise on that, Steve?
Yeah, of course I can. So we did make a different version for Humanware, and they have popped it onto the Reveal 16i. So you'll see on there Easyreader. So yes, it works exactly the same in this particular case, Janice. Unfortunately, it doesn't remember the book position at this time. That's something that we're working on between a Humanware device and the tablets, but it will work exactly the same way. Yeah, so you can change the size of the text and you can hear it being read back to you, etc. Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Steve. From Karen O'Hara, is there a limit to the amount of books you can download? No, there isn't actually any limit. You can download hundreds of books onto your device. There isn't any limit. The next one is from Viveka Carroll. Can individual pay for the service when they are no longer a student? If yes, what is the cost? As long as you're a student, the service is free. But for those that are not students, at the moment for non-student membership for the library, it's €15 for the year annual membership for anyone who's not a student member using Bookshare Ireland. Okay, I think that's all the questions. Does anybody else have any more questions?
You must be really good at this, Lena.
Thank you so much. I think that's everybody have asked the questions. So thank you so much, Steve.
Oh, you're welcome.
And thank you very much for the audience for listening to our presentation. We are going to record this. It's actually being recorded, and a link will be available at some time in the very near future on the Bookshare Ireland site as well for anyone who, if you know someone who would like to see it and to go through it again, they'll be able to review it again. Okay, I shall say goodbye and thank you very much for your time, and we'll speak to you all soon. Take care.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.